What's up? What's up? What is up? It's another Friday. That means it's another opportunity to get together and record the experience that is known as the Ball Hog Sports Talk. We're in the building again. We are in the building today. In the building again is two of the three of the Ball Hog Sports Talk crew. You got, in addition to myself, you got the man who shall be known and respected intergalactically and beyond.
As him.
Thou and beyond.
As him.
As him downstairs that happens to also be on screen, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Give it up for my guy. The Big Flow Show is in the building today. What's up, my brother?
Man, what's good? Looking forward to a nice weekend. The weather's kind of ish, but we'll figure it out. We're gonna
Figure it out. It is springtime, and depending on where you are, sometimes it hesitates to really spring, but it is what it is, man. We're gonna make light of it. The sun is gonna be out by way of our riveting takes on sports business and entertainment. If you have never been a part of this experience where sports business and entertainment collide, just understand that it's a few businessmen to get together to discuss sports in an entertaining fashion. We do it one way and one way only, and that way is rough, rugged, and raw. So fasten your seatbelt, pull up a chair, pour a nice large mug of coffee, spike it if you will, do whatever you need to do, but make sure that you are ready for the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Because with no further ado, girls and boys, dogs, frogs, cats, rats, anything and everything in between.
Give gerbils.
All of those things. Get ready for the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go, 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 go. Once again, it's on. Once again, it's on. We happen to be in front of these microphones, and we're going to give the people what they want. Give the people what they want. Another Friday, big dog. You know what it is, man. It's where sports, business, and entertainment collide. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk. We in the building, and it's some good stuff this week. This week is some good stuff. We always got good stuff, but, you know, and I'm always excited. But I'm excited today because we're going by free market competition. I'm talking about some good stuff. It is an amazing week of sports, business, and entertainment. And we're going to get going with, I guess we can explain the title. Everybody always wants to know what our title is about. Free market competition, for those who don't know. It's like what we do it's a capitalist economy, right? It's like buyers and sellers have very little restrictions on their competition. Right? They compete with one another, among each other to pay the lowest price for buyers, highest price for sellers, and it's a free market where it encourages those parties to get the best value. Perfect for this week. Perfect for this week where the entire world stopped and watched, drum roll please, the WNBA draft. Never been said before, I don't think. I've never.
Has it even been televised?
It's been televised before, but
on Telemundo probably or something.
Telemundo. But because it was on the heels of March Madness, where we had not one, not two, but three record-breaking viewership numbers for the March Madness games, WNBA draft elicited a lot of excitement. Before we get to the WNBA draft, right? Because we're talking about free market competition as a way of a title. I wanted to at least touch on pre-draft. because each one of these WNBA players did their time, if you will, on the collegiate level. But there has been talks that the Women's March Madness tournament created so much buzz that the stars in that now WNBA, but in that March Madness tournament created so much buzz that there's been talk about changing the rules to allow college players, women college players, basketball college players, to also do a one and done. Geno Ariema, who we all know is notorious for building several dynasties, if you will. I think he's got 3 or 4 generations of what you would call dynasties on the women's college basketball side. But he came out publicly and said that if you want to ruin the women's game, allow the one and done. Free market competition, that would be the opposite of free market. Free market competition, that would be with regulations and constraints such that a player that does want to test their WNBA value cannot until they have fulfilled the requirement, which I think is 3 years now. It's 3 years. You got to be 22 years old. You got to be within a certain number of credits or graduating. Several stipulations that are the opposite of free market competition. On the heels of what has been the most exciting, undoubtedly the most exciting, well, I won't say undoubtedly most exciting, but undoubtedly the most watched Women's March Madness tournament ever on record. Geno Ariema saying that one and done would kill the women's game makes you say what?
You know, on the one side, I have to side with the athlete and say that it's no individual athlete's job to maintain a market. So I think that if there's a young lady that is able to capitalize on her fame and leave, and it's not, you shouldn't penalize the individual for the group, because really when you start thinking about, oh, well, it kills the game, it's a barely revenue sport anyway. You know, it's not, I don't owe you that. But then on the other side, I have to agree that it would kill the game.
Why so? Why does it kill the game? Just because some players,
I think if the purest about basketball, that I think that the purest basketball fan that likes women's basketball likes it because it's a very fundamentally sound game, right? Good passing, good dribbling, you know, open shots, pick and roll, different stuff like that. The basketball fan that likes women's basketball is giving up the nasty block shots, giving up the dunk, giving up the freaky side of it, right? So you're never going to get that, right? You're never going to get.
I won't say the blocks, but the dunk. Some of the athletic, purely athletic.
Got the testosterone-filled plays in football and basketball. I think a lot of people they want to see that. They want to see the poster. You know, they talk about you posterize somebody. The poster is never a crossover or a jumper. A poster is dunking on somebody and just showing, you know,
I'll give you that.
Establishing your dominance over this person.
Athletic.
So
I'll give you that.
Girls will never give you that. I know there was some people misogynistically saying that they should lower the rims, whatever.
You think it's misogynistic just to say it should lower the rim to create more dunks?
Only because it was you that said it. But
fair.
But I was trying to give you a gut punch without having to tell everybody. But
all right, go ahead, man. I want my punch right here in front of everybody. Publicly.
No, here's the thing: I don't really want to see a woman dunk. Like, it's cool, but
what's the difference between who's dunking, man and woman? You like dunks, then you like dunks, right?
I like women, and I'm cool with men. You know what I mean? Like, it's different. When I watch female sports, I'm not looking at it from a standpoint of she's attractive, she's not attractive. I mean, I notice if she is, but at the same time, dunking is a masculine move.
So is a crossover. So is a block shot. Even some of the bravado. That was the thing where the detractors, those first-timers that had never watched women's college basketball before, they came out in droves, boy. And a lot of them were testosterone-filled human beings. A lot of men watched the college game this year for the first time, and some of them had issue, especially when it came to Angel Reese and some of the South Carolina players with their bravado. They just felt as though they were a little too extra and felt as though it reflected like men. I don't have an issue with it. At the end of the day, between the lines, we're competing. And so it kind of sounds, similar.
I'm all for, again, I'm not the one to set the rules, but you're asking my opinion. I'm all for the bravado. I'm all for the, getting hyped and everything like that. I don't think that there's anything masculine or feminine about enjoying yourself and being proud and excited to whatever. But dunking, just like I don't want to see a woman pancake block another woman. That doesn't do anything for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see targeting from a woman to a woman. That doesn't do anything for me.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
But put it that way, I kind of get where you're going now. That was a different direction than I thought you were going, but I take it. I get it.
Yeah, but the fact that someone does a little breakaway dunk or whatever, it's kind of cool. Candace Parker, I saw a little highlight tape of her. She was dunking. I was impressed by it, but it's not the same to me. So, but it doesn't mean I don't want to watch the female sports. So lowering the rim, as you suggested, I don't think really increases the game. But I think the purest basketball fan likes the fundamentals that women do. Volleyball, for instance. My daughter plays volleyball. I enjoy female volleyball more than male volleyball because male volleyball it's just all power. It's all boom, 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 spike. It takes away from the beauty of the game, right?
Got it.
Doing the rallies and the nice passes and the nice saves. In the women's game, you have enough spikes. There are enough power for those that need that. But then you see just the beauty of the game and how on the passing and some of the setting and some of the
I got you. I'm with you.
Effortlessly there. So when you do one and done in basketball and you take away the experience and the years it takes that, the NRM is spending a lot of time trying to teach these girls on his team, these young ladies on his team, how to play the sport the right way. In 1 year, your best players are gone. I don't know that I like that. I think that we need to be in a situation where keep the game. Again, I'm not saying no because I side with the athletes. So if that helps the athletes, then to hell with what I think. But I think in the long run, the WNBA, I mean, you notice a lot of the WNBA girls get drafted, ladies, women get drafted and don't make the team. Like you know that there's a large percentage of those people that get drafted.
Right. We talked about that. Like
because there's only 12 teams. Yeah, there's only 12 teams. So to say that you're going to unseat one of these veterans is really hard to do. So going one and done, I think you're going to have a lot of ill-advised people trying to go one and done and have a hard time.
That's a different take on it. And in this episode of Free Market Competition, allowing people to make that decision from a free market standpoint, you're right, could be counterproductive. It could undermine what has been pretty cool about the women's game in the sense that you get to, as Geno said, Iowa City got to grow up with Caitlin Clark. And Geno Ariemo said, so many fans got to grow up and literally mature with generations of UConn players. I agree with him there. But, I think if we're going to say that, because a lot of the analysis after March Madness was comparing the women's game really to the men's game. The whole bravado thing was a comparison.
Yeah.
Right. We talked about, even Sabrina Ionescu shooting against Steph Curry, comparison. There's these comparisons. And if we're going to compare, one and done has been something that we've encouraged forever from a free market perspective in the men's basketball side. I just don't see why you would limit women. Because Juju Watkins, let's be clear, could be one and done. She is the Carmelo Anthony who was one and done on the men's side. She's the Carmelo Anthony of current women's basketball. She stays in triple threat. She can get to the basket at any point. She can get her shot off against anyone. She is a bucket waiting to happen. So she's got 2 years of delayed gratification and won't get paid because of this existing rule. And the existing rule is the opposite of free market competition.
Well, in this situation, again, I'm going to stop separating. Just look at it as a whole. There's no huge prize at the end of the tunnel in the WNBA. The prize is really going to
be monetarily. There's a huge prize in a sense of accomplishments. All of these young ladies have aspired to be WNBA players, right?
Understood. But I guess the way I look at it is she's got a lot of money to make in college now, so she's not being held back from NIL.
Fair.
So from an endorsement deal, when we get talking about Caitlin Clark more, her endorsement deal she might as well pay for free. That's how much. It's not even her WNBA is not even going to pay the taxes on her endorsement deal. And, she can get those things in college or she can get them when she comes out. It really doesn't make much of a difference. So at the end of the day, I think having her stay in, you can't compare it to the men and the women because the men there's generational wealth waiting on these guys that want to come out early. Right.
Right.
And especially in both men's and women's sports, the risk of injury, men, in both men's major sports, basketball and football, the risk of major injury that changes your career are way worse than women's basketball. I think women may actually have a slightly bigger chance of blowing a knee out, so that might not be the same story. But the explosive nature of how men play the sport, they're at risk. So, having to figure out, do I go get some money now while I can, or do I stay in and risk myself? It's a little tougher. But with the NIL, the one and done for men's, if somebody decided to visit that, it's a little bit different now. It's a little different conversation.
Yeah. One and done changes because in the collegiate ranks now you can get paid. It sounds like you're siding with Geno Auriemma. I'll say this for all those who have joined us. First of all, thank you. And like we ask every week humbly, please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anyone you know. And please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and the podcast. I ask anyone in the live audience, answer that question. Geno Auriemma, and maybe it's just because I'm a Notre Dame man, Notre Dame women's basketball fan, the rivalry that did exist when they were both Big East, but the rivalry that continues because they are both prominent programs in women's college basketball. Maybe I'm hating on Geno Auriemma, but I just didn't think that he was the person to come out and say no to one and done and make such a broad stroke statement that if we allow it, we're going to ruin the game. You would think that just like the men have advisors, they're allowed to put their name in the hat, the NBA draft hat, a la Bronny James, test the draft market, and then decide whether or not they want to go back to school or not. You would think that the women would just like that, have advisors that will help them make proper business decisions as to whether or not it makes sense to forego existing years of eligibility and do a one and done situation and go to the WNBA draft. I just think it's like, with Geno, he fights to make sure that the women's game gets the same spotlight. That viewership that Geno and Don Staley and the other coaches, Tyra Van from Stanford, who's retiring, all these coaches fought to get the right TV spots. They were excited to finally get March Madness, to be able to use March Madness when it came to women's basketball. You don't get to eat your cake and, or have your cake and eat it too. Then that means that they should also have one and done like the men. That's just my opinion.
So the question is, who are they fighting for, themselves or the women?
I think that Geno's fighting for himself. That was a self-interested comment because if he has access to some of these players that are one and done worthy for 3 years, it only makes his job easier. So he doesn't have to recruit as much. John Calipari is the latest example of going in and getting a whole bunch of freshmen doesn't necessarily translate to victories. It doesn't translate to March Madness success. So much so that he has now picked up his hat, coat, and he left. So I think it would make Geno's job a lot harder. So I think it's a self-interested comment, but I want to take that off of the table and just look at it from a free market competition standpoint. I think Geno's wrong. Sounds like you think Geno's right. I want our audience to weigh in. Does one and done threaten the women's basketball game? College basketball game. Would one and done water down what we see? I think it opens up more opportunities for other prep basketball stars to get that scholarship to UConn or South Carolina or Notre Dame quicker. I think it opens up more of a market.
It does. I mean, in sheer numbers, though, it's kind of insignificant when you think about 32 people get drafted. I mean, in the first round. And basketball for women, it's only going to be 24 people between the 2 rounds. So, obviously, we don't have more than 24 household names. You don't want to lose that. But I think here's the thing. It's bad timing again, I'm not saying don't do it because I'm all for the athlete, but I'm saying from a college women's basketball standpoint, it's bad timing because right now they're riding this high, and now if you do one and done and you lost Juju and you lost all these people in one right now, it would suck because now you finally have it. Typically, I know like a stud maybe on UConn, and then maybe one other stud. And you don't know anybody else that's on in college women's basketball this year. It's like 5 or 6, 7, 8
on different teams. Yeah,
the household names. And so
household
I
name.
think to say, God, we just lose those. It's like, man, we've done such a we as a world, not taking any credit for it, have done such a good job to finally get here.
Right.
And now you want to take them and throw them in the NBA, which again, that should be their right to do it. But I could see why, as a man whose whole life is made and dependent on these women, he's made a lot of them famous. Obviously, they've had to play the game, but he's helped make some of them famous. It is tough to think, God, they would only stay here a year and be gone. It's nice that you get 3-4 years.
It would completely revamp how he coaches and how he recruits. But anyway, please weigh in, our audience. Let us know. Do you think one and done ruins college women basketball? They finally allow the women in college basketball to go one and done. The women who did not go one and done because the rules have not changed. The women who did take advantage of free market competition. The women who did set what is now the record for viewership over several iterations of great basketball, leading up to a final between South Carolina Gamecocks, who had to go 38-0 undefeated to win 43-0 total if you count back to the previous wins that they had. Great season, amazing basketball ended in the transition. That transition is to the WNBA. We finally got the benefit of the momentum from the viewership in college basketball that translated to viewership in the WNBA draft. Let's go quickly through the order. To no one's surprise, Caitlin Clark was first. And people like Diana Taurasi, who has already fired a warning shot, said, man, you look good against them college girls. Wait till you get to these grown women. Are waiting. They are salivating. In addition, the market that she went to, the Indiana Fever, the city of Indianapolis is salivating, knowing that here comes Caitlin, who has been a cash cow over the last 2 years when it comes to her value from a name, image, and likeness standpoint, her value when it comes to ticket sales. It would cost you 3 arms and 3 legs to get a ticket to an Iowa women's basketball game. She has proved her value when it came to viewership because 2 of those 3 record-breaking games were because Caitlin Clark was shooting that money. She was shooting that cheese from behind the arc. She was shooting that money, baby.
So she thought she threw a bag up there, huh?
Straight up. That Caitlin Clark was the first pick of this WNBA draft, to no one's surprise. Cameron Brink went second. Camila Cardosa went third. Rakea Jackson went fourth. J.C. Sheldon went fifth. Aaliyah Edwards from UConn went sixth. And then we had Angel Reese, that went seventh.
With Cardosa. That's
with Cardosa. They're both going to play for draft. Chicago.
Can't do nothing down there.
Both going to play for Chicago.
Could you imagine had they squared up? They got the fight with the team. Could you imagine those two had squared up and now they got to go hoop together?
Hey, when money's involved, babe, we're going to be friends. Let's be friends. And the Sparks are also looking like an amazing team with their 2 picks, Cameron Brink and Rakea Jackson. So there are going to be some teams. The Sparks had an amazing watch party. Indiana is already excited. Let's talk in parts. Because, again, the new wave of viewers, those Neanderthals that have a lot of testosterone in themselves, the men that are Johnny-come-latelys when it comes to the WNBA game, all had something to say. And they all had something to say because of the salaries. They all had something to say about the discrepancy in the salaries. if you compare Victor Wembanyama, who was everybody's odds-on favorite to be the number one pick, was drafted first, just like Caitlin Clark. We've known for a while who the number one pick was going to be in terms of women and going to WNBA. Same thing with Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama, who is called a once-in-a-generational style player, very similar to Caitlin Clark, once-in-a-generational style player. Victor Wembanyama, who's an international fame, and people have been lining up, waiting to see him play, very similar to Caitlin Clark. But then we compared their salaries, and ain't nothing similar. Victor Wembanyama's rookie salary was $12.1 million. He has a 4-year contract at $55.1 million, which will most likely be renegotiated before any free agency comes into play, and he's going to be a supermax deal at this rate. Caitlin Clark's rookie deal, she's going to make $76,000. She's going to make $76.33. I'm just joking. $76,500. She has a 4-year deal worth $338,000, which some people in the regular corporate world are making on an annual basis. The same woman that caused all of us to turn on the TV and watch college basketball. The same woman who's been called once in a generational talent. The same woman that caused so many arenas to be sold out who normally don't sell 10 tickets. The same woman is going to make a fraction of a fraction of a fraction compared to the male counterpart in the NBA. Free market competition makes me be a little more thorough and thoughtful than the lazy average man that is Johnny come lately to have this discussion. But let's talk about it.
Let's talk about this. If she didn't think $76,000, $76,535 was enough, go get the job that you graduated college from. Why hoop? Go get a job.
Or she had another offer, as we talked about, Ice Cube in the Big Three to get $5 million this year. She had another basketball offer that
she passed that up, right? So there must be. Let's peel that $76,000 back and say what's to that. She felt an obligation to the other women in the sport. She wanted to go to WNBA because that's the pinnacle. Nike made it worth her while. I'm sure Nike said, do the WNBA stuff, sell the gym shoe. They got her own signature. She's going to be like Jordan around this joint. Will you wear a Caitlin Clark?
I would. I actually was looking for the Sabrina Ionesco. I like the design. I would wear a Caitlin Clark. I would wear a Caitlin.
Do they make women's shoes in the men?
Yeah. Okay. Sabrina Ionesco's is a unisex shoe.
Okay.
I'm assuming Caitlin Clark's will be a unisex shoe.
Yeah, I might rock me a Caitlin Clark. I'm gonna see what type of color schemes you working with, man. See if you can get them in the purple, so I can wear that for this season coming up, Caitlin. Get you a little purple shoe. That's what we saw. We digress. Your people call my people. We'll figure it out. But it's worth their while. It's worth their time. That's what the league is paying her because that's the revenue that they feel like they're going to get. Maybe the question is they should be getting more stuff because if they have a $200 million league revenue and they're willing to pay Caitlin Clark $10 million plus, I said it's an 8-figure deal. Mm-hmm. Somebody in the WNBA is asleep at the wheel, so they can be figured out how to get more bread. Because if she's worth 5% of the league revenue on her own, on her damn self, she's more than 5% less than 5% of the players. You start scratching your head.
Like the math ain't mathing. League revenue, NBA $10 billion, and league revenue, WNBA is $200 million, which might be generous. I know that they were in the red for a while. I guess it just says league revenue, not profit. So maybe it costs more to run the league than $200 million. TV contract, you see the difference there. NBA contract is worth $2.7 billion. The WNBA TV contract is worth $60 million.
She making $76,000 a year. When I was at Notre Dame and I came out, the average salary for a Notre Dame accounting degree person was like $300,000. And they were like, damn, what's that all about? It's because LaFonso Ellis got drafted first round. He had an accounting degree. So his starting salary got averaged with the rest of the school and destroyed the numbers. But I feel like that $76,000, I don't know what her major was. That might be right on par.
Do you think let's quickly deal with what I thought was a pretty lazy approach to this debate over the last several days as the WNBA draft results have come out, as these salaries have been made public. It seems as though social media has been filled with a very lazy analysis about this is not fair. Now, you look at league revenue, and we're talking about free market competition. I can't necessarily say it's unfair, but we can easily say something don't seem right about that. How do we address it from a more thorough, thoughtful analysis approach to say, how do we start to equal the playing field? Especially because if you just rewind a week and a half or so, that game, the championship game, was the most viewed basketball game since 2019. Not college.
Heard.
Not men, not women. The most viewed basketball game since 2019. So obviously the interest is there. And I don't want to take the burden and responsibility off the WNBA to increase the value of their product such that league revenue isn't as lopsided. But the truth of the matter is, as I watch people post very lazily what seems like a watered down analysis as to how this reality exists, the fans have a role and a responsibility to help the revenue be more balanced as well. The fans have a role and responsibility to help diminish the gap between the TV contracts as well. The fans have a responsibility to start buying the tickets and going to the games to help the revenue, will help the TV contract, that will help equal the playing field as well. This ain't just Mars and Venus. This is dollars and cents.
For sure.
And that's the part that I think this weird time where we're actually having a conversation about women's college basketball. We're watching it by the droves. We know these names. And now this debate is in our lap and in our face. It's a unique time for us to really have the conversation and see who's willing to do what if you really want the playing field to be more even.
Yeah, I wish we'd stop talking about that. We're talking about entertainment. And then when it comes down to entertainment, you want to make sure you look at the owners and then you look at the players. You know, they have collective bargaining in basketball, football, baseball, whatever. And I think every sport now is tied to percentage of revenue. The owners have to pay out a certain percentage of revenue, and that's what the salary caps are based off of. And that's what we need to shut up after that and stop doing it. You can't compare the men to the women. You can't compare this to that, the other, whatever. Those kind of conversations have to stay within their sport and within their league because it's an economy in and of itself. So, WNBA, you want to get paid more money? Embrace Caitlin Clark. Find the next one. Get people to come to college with a bunch of fans. The people, she's going to increase the revenue of the entire league by herself. Everyone's going to keep hating on her, but she's going to give a shot in the arm like Tiger Woods did to golf. When Tiger Woods joined golf, there was 4 or 5 millionaires a year. By the time, he was in the middle of his career, there was 60, 70. I don't know how many numbers, but the number grew astronomically about how much money went to golf. So all you Caitlin Clark haters that like basketball, shut up because she's putting money in everybody's pocket. I know damn well I wouldn't be surprised if I watch her go play against, what do you think the ticket's going to be when she plays Angel Reese and Cordoba? It's going to be fantastic. Right?
I mean, Michelle Steele, what's up? Sora talked about who is in Indianapolis area.
Yeah.
Talk about how the Fever tickets tripled because of Caitlin Clark being the draftee.
And that's because she shoots from the logo. There's going to be a bunch of great basketball players, and I'm sure. What was the one that hated on her? The little Italian lady.
Diana Taurasi.
Taurasi, you can say whatever you want to say.
Italian lady.
You say whatever you want to say.
Or one of the greatest women players to ever play. She got disrespected in that GOAT conversation.
No, but I'm just going to say, we are in the sports is the entertainment business. So now if she did it because she's smart and she's doing some Muhammad Ali shit and trying to create a rivalry, I take my hat off to her. If she's really that much of a hater, you're an idiot. She's going to put money in your pocket. Caitlin Clark is going to put money in your pocket. You might let her shoot. You know what I'm saying? Let her shoot. If she goes to the WNBA and she flops, everyone loses.
Fair.
Everyone loses.
Especially if we don't have the next Caitlin Clark already pegged, ready to go. I think Juju Watkins is one of the next greats of basketball.
The next great. What I'm saying is there's been so many great women's basketball players, and we're in the situation we're in right now where they're making $76,000 a year because they're all great in the same type of way. A traditional, shoot, come to the basket, lay up, ball, type of way. People didn't even know. Candace Parker went to the high school that my son went to. She lived in the town that I live in. I never went to watch her play, never paid attention. I watched her highlights from college, and I'm like, oh, my God, this girl was amazing. But nothing drew me to watch it. They tell me Caitlin Clark shoots like Steph Curry. I had to see it. So I'm an athletic fan with the sports podcast. I went to see that. Other than that, for female basketball, I would watch the championship every once in a while, and or if Notre Dame was in it for sure, if UConn was in it, probably. But I watched a little bit, didn't pay attention. Now I'm watching playoff games in the middle of something. I'm on vacation. I'm watching playoff games, and I'm deciding between the women's game and the men's game. It's all Caitlin Clark that she gets all the credit for that. She did everything. I know who Angel Reese is, and I became a fan because I watched her play Caitlin Clark. So everybody else can say what they want to go say. She deserves all the money she's getting, all the hype she's getting, all the smoke on almost smoke day. She deserves all of it. It's all her, 100%. You say what you want to say, even if you hate her. It's just like the Notre Dame effect. You watch her to lose. You tune in to hope that she gets beat. It's still her.
Fair. And in this episode of Free Market Competition, that is a free market perspective, right? That because of this lightning rod, polarizing personality, if you watch to support or you watch to detract, it helps the bottom line. Quickly looking at the top salaries. What I like is that the top WNBA salary goes to Jackie Young, former Notre Dame player. She makes $252,000 a year. She had a 2-year deal for just over $500,000. Good money because she's not under a rookie contract. The second highest paid player, Jewel Lloyd, also Notre Dame grad, $245,500. The third highest salary, Kalea Cooper for Phoenix, makes $245,000 on the dot. The fourth, Arike, also Notre Dame grad, $241,900. The fifth is your girl, you said little Italian lady hater, the veteran, $234,000, close to $235,000.
What number are we going to? I just want to make sure already.
Just 5.
Okay. 5.
So the top 5 are all over $200,000 a year outside of the rookie contract. If we did the same thing on the men's side,
why? Stop it. Why?
Because we're saying basketball salaries for playing professional basketball. Why would we not?
So my point is this: if you're going to start talking about now you're using the word fair is what you're trying to get to, right?
I'm not using it fair. I'm saying,
is there a reason why anybody should make over $1 million to play a sport?
Absolutely.
It's market value.
Yes, that's why I would say absolutely.
Nobody should be making more than $250,000 to play a sport. Maybe football because they get hurt. Except for the fact of what? It's a free market. So now it changes everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can't have it both ways. We can't say we're a free market and then talk about fair and talk about what's going on with, the women, they're not making this, whatever. There's no, you are getting what a free market tells you that you are able to pay you. If they weren't, if you try to go pay people in the NBA tomorrow $76,000, I'm not gonna say nobody would play, but you would lose a lot of these people try to go act or rap or something.
No, they're gonna go to China. They're gonna go somewhere else.
They're gonna go somewhere else and do something
Which is
different.
why a lot of the women go over there. So we know
Go,
that
just
this
don't bring
exists.
any weed with you, and you'll be straight. You know what I'm saying?
It was a weed cartridge.
Go do you. All I'm saying is go do you. You know, people start getting exploited and start they start pocket watching. Pocket watching never does a good thing for you. The UFC have been pocket watching boxing forever. And you know what? I love what's going on. Jake Paul said, you know what? I'm not going to join either league. I'm going to just do exhibitions. I'm going to make way more money than everybody. God bless you, Jake Paul. That's what being an American's all about. Create your own. Figure out a way to pick up, they have your own pickup league and see what's going on. There is some other weird league out there. I can't figure out the hell it's all about. There's a league out there that I don't know if it's like a G League or D League for women.
I'm not even aware.
Real weird colored uniforms and stuff. Like, I don't know, it was weird as hell. But I saw it on TV when I was at a bar one day. I don't know where these women are from or headed or whatever. But anyway, Caitlin Clark's going to have an 8-figure Nike deal because that's what the fair market dictates. She's only going to get paid in coops for the bash. She's not even going to recognize payday when she's playing for whatever. And if it was just about that, she would have went to the big three. But she realized she's doing something that's going to be more. So let's celebrate her and not feel so sorry for her.
And look, the third-party payer, in this case the brand Nike, because they understand her value, stepped up and made it lucrative enough where she ain't crying. She gonna be good. Between what she made in NIL, what she's gonna make with Nike, she's straight.
She picking up dinner when she go over to that.
Yes, but it just like I said on the collegiate side, and I know we're talking about free market competition, but sometimes it just doesn't seem right. And I don't want to use the word fair because free market and fair, it is what it is. The value is going to dictate, or the market is going to dictate the value of it. But the market, because of some of the rules historically, has decided that at least based on all the money that comes into the NCAA and to the institutions, these collegiate players are still paying for free. And NIL was the equivalent third-party payer paying these college athletes. I just feel that when you get to professional ranks, there should be a little more equity. Because not too many people, you talk about there's only 12 teams. Well, that means even fewer from a percentage-wise number of women that ever pick up a basketball have ascended to the ranks of becoming a professional basketball player in the United States.
Why is that?
It's even more rare.
Why is that? Because of something the men do?
No, I'm not saying the cause. What I'm saying is the rarity of it and the scarcity of it normally comes with, we're looking at supply and demand, price and quantity. The scarcity of it means that the value normally goes up, and with the women, it has not enough.
Objection, relevance.
Relevance is I'm trying to figure out what we can do as a consumer.
Shut up. What can we do as a consumer?
Yeah.
Buy shit. Go to the games, buy the jerseys, or shut up.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you don't do that with the NBA. Have you gone to a game?
I watch the games. I've gone to the games. Yeah, I go to corporate box events all the time. Spend thousands of dollars. Not my money. We're doing whatever. And people got to want to go. Sometimes, like the Bulls, I couldn't tell you the starting five for the Bulls this year because it just don't provide value. They're under 500. Nobody really cares. That's them. That's all. Nobody cares. No one wants to watch it.
Well, I hope people get the memo and start coming to the games and buying the paraphernalia. And because we've seen that the game is so exciting. I've been on the bandwagon about women's basketball for a minute on this show and beyond. I think other people, hopefully, because of March Madness, will get on the bandwagon too quickly because Caitlin Clark's story doesn't end there. There was an awkward moment with a reporter in Indianapolis, her first interview. And it was a weird interview. I think that the gentleman was trying to just be funny. He makes a heart sign, seemed to be creepy. And immediately there are the social justice warriors that said it was misogynistic. I didn't think it was misogynistic. I just thought the dude was kind of weird in the question asking. Is this much ado about nothing, or is this the beginning of what we're going to see when it comes to Caitlin Clark coverage?
Okay, I think people go a little too far with certain comments, okay, or with conclusions they go to. So I met my wife at work, right? And she sat in front of me at work. And she used to always tease me, and she'd say, "You just got off the phone with a woman." And I'd be like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" She's like, "You just sound different when you talk to a woman." And that's because I'm a human being. So when I was on the phone,
in your job role,
we're both in a cube farm cold calling all day. and
Got it.
she would call out man or woman, whether or not I was talking to a man or woman, just because the way I would talk. Now, I was talking to people in Portland, Oregon, and in the LA County area. I'm in Chicago. I'm not trying to pick anybody up or do whatever, but I naturally address women differently than men. And I think that's okay because you know why? Men and women are different, right? I'm more likely to wait 2 or 3 seconds to hold a door for a woman than I am for a man. Not
Okay.
because I'm a misogynist, just because I just think that I'm trying to, I just do that for women. I don't think that they're not capable of holding the doors for themselves or whatever. So my point is, this man had this exchange, and he holds up the heart sign, which I thought that's probably a little weird. I think he was just so excited the fact that he thinks he's getting Michael, like he's in a role in his life. You got to put yourself in his shoes. He is a beat writer covering the WNBA. You can't name another one, right? So he's doing that, right? So this is a big deal to him. Now he's a beat writer that gets to cover a generational talent, which from a marketing standpoint is the Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, LeBron James of female sports from a marketing standpoint, and he gets to cover it. Yep. So he gets inside of a weird place, and he shows her the heart hand that she shows everybody. I don't know where he was going with it, and she's like, "Yeah, you like that." She was very warm about it, and he was like, "I love that you're here." Okay, so he's so fucking happy. So you got to put yourself in his frame of mind.
Right. And someone's going to actually read his article now.
Someone's going to read his article. He's doing whatever. I'm so happy you're here. It's so great. He didn't know what else to say. He wasn't ready with a question. And she's like, "Yeah, I do that to my family every time." He's not prepared to respond to that because he doesn't know she's going to say it. So the response that comes out of his mouth is, "If you do that to me every time you see me, we're going to get along just fine." Somebody went so far to say, if you do that to me, I'll write positive articles about you. Not what he said. He was so happy that he was talking to a person that is the biggest name in the sport that he spends his life covering. And so he says it. She doesn't seem to be offended by it. And everyone's like talking misogynistic, this, that, and the other. The dude has got to be in his mid-50s. Caitlin Clark is, for all, I believe, 21, 22 years old, something a younger age like that. He's probably thinking about her the way that I look at my daughter, right? Like, he's not looking at her in a certain way like that. Oh, we got to talk the way we talk to men and talk to women. You know what? How many dudes probably say some real suspect stuff to other male athletes, not knowing it because they're so happy? You know what I mean? Like, sign my back, sign my check. Dude, no, I don't know about this. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
right. Fair.
I think you're making a lot to do out of nothing. Now, if he keeps on, and he apologized right away. Hey, I'm sorry. He was in a situation.
He ended up writing a real article apology. He was kind of, he was contrite. He was.
Because he didn't mean anything by it. And there's a lot of times you'll do it. It wasn't like he said something that was just a sexist thought or whatever. He just was trying to keep this conversation going that he's having an exchange with this star. She seemed like she was comfortable with it. Yeah, I guess it gets kind of weird and creepy. But, we've all gotten to a situation where you say something, you'd be like, wait a minute, hold on.
That didn't come out right.
Yeah.
I just think that here's my thing. And my pushback would be this for those Caitlin Clark fans that really want, or WNBA fans, or even those for the last several days who've gone on social media and virtue signaled about why we've got to do better and do our part to make sure that the women have higher salaries. We can't micromanage every word of coverage from a basketball perspective. If we really want to say that the WNBA should get the same treatment as the NBA, the quality of basketball is similar. The women demand or should demand, but absolutely deserve the same amount of respect. That means they absolutely deserve the same amount of heat. The same type of coverage, the same type of awkwardness that a lot of reporters and respective beat writers for men's sports seem to display on a daily basis. So we got to sort of start being less sensitive in order for us to really approach and see the games equally. That's all I'll say. Because the sensitivity around this is like, wow. Scott Bibbs says people are ignoring the great white hope aspect of the hype around Caitlin Clark. I'm going to give you 20 seconds to respond before we move on. is there a race component to this that makes us run to this Caitlin Clark phenomenon? Just like, and I don't want to make it about white and black because Jeremy Lin, the sensation, the Asian sensation, had his own race-related, cultural-related ascension into the international spotlight. Is there something around it? Because Caitlin Clark, who played for Iowa, getting drafted by Indiana Fever, boy, there's a lot of whiteness around that story. Does Scott Bibb have a point here?
We talked about this last week, or maybe even the week before. 100% unequivocally yes, and that's okay. It's look. The reason why these people make money, the reason why Wembe Yama makes a gabillion, trillion, quadrupling $1 million, like, is because he moves people emotionally, right? We all want to be moved emotionally, and we all want to. It's not socially acceptable for us to go black versus white on the street, right? So if we could take something that is quote unquote as reasonable is relatively meaningless as sports, and we can take out our animalistic desires to be us against them, which human nature is to be tribal and us against them. Yeah. If you're a white person, why do we all like Tiger Woods? Because he's black.
I was gonna say
because he's black. Nobody gave a shit. You didn't watch. You couldn't take. You didn't know anybody.
Tiger Woo.
Tiger Woo, right? He's blazing. So you're excited. That's why you watch golf. I only watch golf if Tiger's golfing, and I'll watch.
You better not say that so loud and proud that he's black in front of Tiger. Tiger took a 9 hour in your head. He said he ain't black.
He said he's blazing. But the thing about it is, yeah, that's exactly why black people watch golf. It's because of Tiger Woods. Yes. You know, there's a couple black hockey players now. You get a couple more, we might fuck around and start buying hockey tickets. Right? So why are people get so mad? Why do people get so mad when white people celebrate white people in sports? Come on, man. I'm not trying to be tap dancing up here, but like, yes, I know fucking hell yes. They're so happy that Caitlin Clark is white and she's doing that. And they can relate to her. Her daughter, she looks like the daughter from next door or whatever. That's the whole thing about sports. People doing what they can go do. So they love it. I'm not mad at you because you like her because she's a white girl. That doesn't bother me. If she was a black girl, more black people would like her. Now, I'm not saying all blacks and all whites are take sides like that, but she'd be more appealing. If her name was Bella Florima, yeah, I'd be more excited. You know what I'm saying? I'd be pretty excited about that. You know what I'm saying? If she was from Haiti, I'd be way more excited. You know what I mean?
She's not Haitian? Caitlin Clark not Haitian?
We looked into it. Nope. No, we looked into it. We tried to claim.
Yeah.
We tried to claim.
Finish. She just missed out.
We got white people in Haiti too. But yeah, everyone gets so weirded about the Great White Hope. They want to deny. Yeah, exactly. She's the Great White Hope. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely, there should be. Like, I love it when what's his name came out and it said that they should do an all-star game with black versus white in football instead of the all-star game. We should do it that way. And I loved it because there was people on that busting with the boys that they took that and they didn't get offended by it. They didn't go into it. They just rolled with it. And they started saying, yeah, this is who our starting 11 would be. This is who you guys have starting 11. This is where we would have trouble. Can't we just talk like that sometimes? Can't we just have some conversations with everything?
It sounds like you're saying to me that Dave Chappelle and his race draft skit was on to something.
It was well before his time. Before his time. But there's nothing wrong with that stuff. I love you, white people. I do. I do. But you know what I'm saying? I do. And if you want to root for the white dude over the black dude, we could do that from the same bowl of chips and drinking out the same bottle of scotch. I don't care. I don't have a problem with that.
Very fair. Very fair. All of this WNBA talk gets us to this other league around this time of year that is pretty popular as we're getting close to the summer. And over the next several hours, the playoff picture will be decided. The brother league to the WNBA, as it shall be known in this show, in free market competition, because we going all in the WNBA, baby. We are encouraging from the Ball Hall Sports Talk, put your money where your mouth is. Go to a game this summer. Buy you a Caitlin Clark jersey, which might be hard to do because they sold out already. Turn your TV to a game. And let's try to change it for the future generations of Caitlin Clarks so they don't have to make $70,000. They can make closer to the
80.
several million.
Give me a nice 80.
Give a nice little 80. But anyway, let's go to the NBA, man, because play-ins are set. You got the first round, the 9 versus 10. That means 2 teams had to get out of there. The loser of the 7-8 gets to play the winner of the 9-10, and then we come up with our final 8 in the Eastern Conference and Western Conference. LeBron, who said initially that whoever came up with this play-in idea should be fired, has benefited from this play-in because their team won and they move on. Their team won largely because Zion got hurt again. He was going bananas, had 40 points. They were up about 5 points. Zion goes out. They lose the game. And that means that the Lakers, who you said in 7, actually advanced in 1. They advanced in 1, but as now the 7 seed, so they get to play Denver, who they haven't beaten in umpteen million years. So it should be a good first round.
I'm gonna say Lakers in 6. I mean, I know I don't really say that much, but I'm gonna say they're gonna get Denver this year. Denver's tired.
It's bound to happen eventually.
They're tired. Denver's tired.
Denver's tired of beating the Lakers. What they tired from? What they
Joker's tired. Joker wasn't himself this year. He won the MVP. He was. Who's gonna be the MVP this year?
Embiid got disqualified because of the injuries. I think Shea Gilchrist, or Shea Alexander, SGA from OKC, the Canadian. It's going to be another international MVP, probably.
I put some money on my man from the Timberwolves.
No, not happening. And Edwards, not happening.
It was paying good though. It was paying good.
Yeah. I think it's down to I would say either SGA or Luka. Those are your 2. But either way, it's going to be another international MVP. There will not be an American-born MVP.
That's bullshit. See, that's the thing. We don't get out and support our own the way we're supposed to. Vote. You know what I'm saying? Like,
get out and vote.
Get out and vote, man. Get out and vote. People don't like to see that, but that's, again, the controversy is good. All these foreign MVPs, people are going to start getting pissed. They're going to start watching more. They're going to start voting. They're going to start getting involved. It's fantastic. It's all good for sports. Controversy is fantastic.
Same thing with Rookie of the Year. Looks like, it's going to be Wemby.
He
although I like Chet. I mean, Chet deserved it. I mean, look at
I don't
Chet
believe.
numbers.
I don't think
OKC is the number 1
I don't
team
believe
in the West.
This is not college. You can't redshirt. I don't believe Chet should be considered a rookie. It was the NBA last year.
I know, but this is the rules, man. They're just the rules. Those are rules.
It's not your fault. It's not Wemby's fault you got hurt.
Let's get into playoffs, man. Look at it this way. We have now got all the playoffs decided except for the 8 seeds. So the 1 seeds on both sides. On the Western Conference, OKC is waiting on who they will face. They will either face, because you now have the last play-in game, they will either face the Kings or the Pelicans. The Pelicans will be without Zion tonight as they face the Kings, who sent the Warriors home. We're going to get on that. And then on the Eastern side, you got Boston, who is by head and shoulders above the rest of the teams in the East.
Slightly better than the Bulls. Only 35 games ahead of the Bulls.
35 games. Waiting on the winner of the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls tonight. So the matchups are as this. OKC on the West, number 1 seed, is still waiting. They play the winner of the Pelicans and the Kings. On the East, you got the 1 seed Boston waiting on the winner of Miami and the Bulls. Then you got on the West, you got Denver versus LA. You said LA in 6.
Bulls gonna take 7 games though against the Celtics. I got to put that. It's gonna take 7.
Ooh, boy, I need
there's ever been a playoff.
I need to know what you smoking. It is 4:19. You might have started early. Whatever you smoking.
You think there's ever been a playoff matchup where 1 team is playing against team they got like 30 games on it?
No, this is an anomaly.
So terrible. If the Bulls sweep the Celtics, they'll get to 500.
Maybe
sweep.
Maybe that happens, and the crazier things have happened.
They got to win tonight and then sweep.
Crazier things have happened. Scott Bibb, I disagree with you. Chet ain't even close to Wemby.
He does.
That's extreme. That's extreme. Chet is an amazing player, and
I know you'll
OKC is
disagree with him
the
again.
1 seed. San Antonio is as close to the playoffs as my
It's
son's
me.
AAU team,
Yeah.
right? Like they didn't even sniff the NBA playoffs. Anyway, Heat are done yet, whatever. We had an injury. Zion and Jimmy getting hurt in the play-in game. I feel some type of way, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't get to see playoff Jimmy, and it looks like Zion's going to be out for at least tonight, maybe a while, even if the Pelicans advance. Something seems unfair about that. To continue on the Western side, you got Minnesota the 3 versus Phoenix the 6. You got the Clippers at 4 versus the Mavs at 5. The Mavs seem to be the team that no one wants to play, but I'll be honest with you, the Clippers seem like the team that no one wants to play. I think that's going to be the most exciting series to start off the playoffs. And then on the Eastern side, after you got Boston waiting on their opponent, you have the number 2 Knicks. Because it was so close, it was Boston and then the Pips. The rest of the Eastern Conference, everything came down to the last game. 2 all the way down to 9 was only separated by like 3 games. So you got the Knicks that edged out the rest of the field. They're going to now play the 76ers, who advanced with their win over the Miami Heat in the play-in. Should be a good series. Embiid is back. 76ers might be the favorite in some odds makers' eyes. You got the number 3 Bucks and their amazing coach, Doc Rivers. They're going to go and play – that's sarcasm. They go and play the Indiana Pacers at the 6 seed. The number 4 Cavs get to play the number 5 Magic. And the Eastern Conference seems like just an exercise of we got to do this, so we're going to do it, but Boston's going to come out of it. We shall see. NBA playoffs are underway. The playoffs, though, I don't know if you had any playoff commentary before I move on. You got
I
the
already
games
told you the
tonight.
2 series I'm calling Bulls.
Calling Bulls.
Bulls and Lakers.
The thing that I wanted to take from the play-in, if we saw what happened in Sacramento, when they lit the beam, they did so, and maybe that light was shedding light on the fact that the dynasty is finally over.
So break.
The big 3, the Splash Brothers, whatever Steph Curry scored was their point total, because my man Klay Thompson went 0 for 10 and scored 0 points. He couldn't even get a free throw out.
What if I told you that Draymond shot at his best shooting of his career this season?
I think Draymond played well. The problem is Draymond didn't play a significant amount of games because of Draymond. If Draymond doesn't get suspended, the Warriors are in the playoffs. By the time Draymond came back, the Warriors finished
the Miami Heat wanted to get Klay Thompson, you would say he's washed up because of one game.
I don't think we if the Miami Heat, Klay Thompson wants to stay in Golden State, he's going to take at least a $20 million pay cut.
Man, go to the Lakers. They pay you full fare.
I don't think anybody pays him what he might consider to be fair. They're done.
Stop saying that. They lost the game.
A play-in game.
It sucks. To a team that's also in the playoffs.
Fair.
I think they're on a break.
Maybe in the playoffs.
I think they can add. They still got the superstar over there, Wiggins. They still hitting.
Jonathan Kuminga was more of a superstar than Wiggins in
don't blasphemy. Don't talk like that about Wiggins. You know how you feel about him.
I do feel good about Wiggins, but Wiggins dealing with some stuff. He played that way. Is the dynasty over?
No.
You got Steve Kerr.
No. Hell,
are you sure?
Absolutely sure. They just had a bad year. It happens.
So
I think the problem is
they'll win another championship with those 3 on their roster.
I think they have a decent chance. I think Denver. We're gonna see what Denver does if we can find a way to break that group up a little bit, chop them up a little bit. The West is mean, but I think in this country, because of Michael Jordan, he ruined sports for everybody. Boo to you, Michael Jordan, because he did something with that team and that coach and Scottie Pippen that made it seem like that's the standard. If you don't double 3-peat and never lose, go to a game 7 and win all the championship, blah, 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 you're not the best. It's not how things work. Look at the Patriots. I just watched a great docuseries out there. I recommend to anybody is to go on Apple TV and watch the Patriots documentary. Fantastic, right? I mean, look, they went like 10 years between Super Bowls or something. You know what I mean? Like they keep switching. They still have the same coach, same quarterback, and did whatever. And they found ways to win with big gaps between it. They won 6 Super Bowls in 20 years. But it was, same coach, same quarterback. They move some pieces around. So yeah, maybe we lose one of the pieces of the big three. Maybe we don't have all of them. Just like the Bulls, they lost a couple of pieces from the first three-peat, and they go to the second piece with somebody else. But I think Steph will still be there. I don't know who else is going to take Draymond the way he acts. I think he's got.
I think Draymond, the way he played down the stretch, and the fact that I think he's on the other side of therapy, and he seemed to be addressing some of the demons.
Don't buy that. Don't buy that.
That was all dog and pony.
His job is to keep Caitlin Clark out the NBA right now. But
I say this because Scott Bibb, there's 2 sentences there. He calls you irrational to say that. But the second sentence, I have to say, the other Western teams make it so tough for me to wrap my mind around this dynasty lasting, because those other teams not only are very competitive, and look, the West wasn't the East. Everybody was in one big sort of
a cluster.
It was a scrum of teams fighting and jockeying for position down the stretch. But those teams are much younger than the Warriors. When you put the big three of the Warriors and whether or not the face of their dynasty survives, I got to go with Bibb on this one. I think it's finally over. We're on the Titanic, and maybe the band is still playing, but this ship is sinking. Ain't no other way to say it. Steve Kerr seems to have really lost grasp of the direction that the ship was going. I think this ship is sinking. I'll give you the last word on it before we move on.
I disagree.
Fair. Very fair. Time will tell. But you wouldn't bet money that you needed on this, the Warriors winning with that group of 3 still there. You wouldn't bet, not money you needed. You might bet the money that, fell.
What a great thing. Money you needed.
You need it, right?
Yeah. I would never bet money I need. So that's what made it kind of hard. I can't disagree with you, but I would never bet money I need on anything. But I would say that I just think, okay, they had a little lull and stuff. They get some regroup. I think they all have basketball left in them. You think Steph is done?
No, Steph isn't done.
And you think Clay is done?
I think Clay thinks Clay is done. His confidence is in the toilet. You couldn't get a free throw. And basically, I mean, that's a deciding game. I know playing is different than like a game 4 or game 7 or whatever, but the reality is it was a win or go home game. And he gave you no points.
Again, go back to the documentary. You'll start watching some of the facets and the phases that Brady went through behind the scenes, and some of the things that you find out only when they do films. You don't know what changes that he's been through this year. You don't know what type of stuff he's been dealing with.
Fair, I'll give you that.
And you start finding those things out later, and you're like, oh, okay, this is why you were tripping. Okay, this is what happened here. It's always something. We just see the game. If someone thinks that Klay Thompson is no longer available to play basketball, I hope the Bulls or the Lakers pick him up. I hope somebody that I care about picks him up, because I don't think that guy's done. How old is Klay Thompson? 33, 34?
I don't know his age. I would say around mid-30s.
Mid-30s. He's still got 2 or 3 good seasons left at least. Unless he got some of those LeBron vitamins, he can stay till he's in his 40s. I don't know. He's a shooter. So I think shooters shoot. He'll still be there.
But shooters, if you call somebody
now,
if
you ask me, CP3 needs to go take a seat someplace.
Oh, yeah, he's done. He's done. But that money that you're betting that group with the Splash Brothers and Draymond are going to be on the roster, and that team gets to another championship, that's the same money you would take and just waste on a lottery ticket. Because I think the odds,
did you see what the jackpot was?
As exact, but the odds are just as improbable that group ever goes back. I think the dynasty, the thrill is gone, is over, baby. It was a fun ride. I appreciate it in real time, but I think it's over.
They say the same thing about George Foreman. They say the same thing about Tom Brady. He went and won those Super Bowl with somebody else, and then played again.
Fair. Hey, we shall see. I gotta at least bring this up before we get out of here because I thought it was an interesting story. My man, who is controversial every time you say his name, Kyrie Irving, sort of got snubbed. He got snubbed. He did not make it to the Olympics. And in terms of USA basketball, when Kyrie is on the floor, he's been exciting. Kyrie then said, "Hey, man, I kind of miss the old days where we got together and we competed." Instead of just deciding. The last spot was taken by Kawhi Leonard. Then he took an injury spot. I don't know whose injury spot that he took, or someone might have declined. I don't know how he got his spot, but it was not Kyrie Irving. Kawhi, who's had injury issues, but has played well this year. In fact, he's having an inflammation issue now. I don't know if he, game one, he's questionable. But does Kyrie have a point? Whether or not you think he got snubbed, does he have a point? Getting in the gym, playing for 4 days, and competing in this episode of free market competition ain't no competition with the current way the team is decided. Does Kyrie have a point that in this everybody gets a trophy generation? In this everybody gets a like just because as you scroll you feel obligated to like. In this weird society where players are friends and they hanging out, chopping it up, yucking it up during the game. Have we taken competition out of what should be the most competitive process to figure out who's going to represent us internationally as the rest of the world catches up? Does Kyrie have a point?
I think he has a great point because, he said back in the day, one of the things, if you listen to the interview, he mentions it's not just the tryout, it's seeing what five gel the best together. Sometimes, you see these memes and say, all right, who has to sit, stay, and go? And they'll have Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, LeBron, or whatever. And I always sit Kobe. And the reason why I always end up sitting Kobe is not because he's not one of the best three to do it. It's because there's no basketball team that I can envision that has Kobe and Jordan on it. It just doesn't work. They're the same guy, and they'll scratch each other out. And I think when he's talking about chemistry, is you're going to have an opportunity to bring people in, watch them run the floor, play around with your teams, and decide who you're going to pick. Now they pick it like they pick an all-star game. And they just throw it out there and say, all right, guys, go win one. And, we end up getting in some trouble. So I think the international game, I do find it interesting that Embiid played with us as opposed to, is he from Cameroon?
Yes, but yes.
He decided there's not enough hoopers over there.
I mean, he spent a lot of time here. He went to Mount Verb. But yes, he's from Cameroon originally. But he decided he was going to use his dual citizenship. Nationality is U.S. Let's talk about the teams that did make the players that did make it. LeBron James, who? LeBron James. You got Steph Curry. You got Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis. You got Devin Booker. You got Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum. You got Bam Adebayo, and I know that they needed a front court player. As a Miami Heat fan, that's the one I'm scratching my head about in the front court. You got Tyrese Halliburton. You got Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday made it, and not Kyrie Irving. And then you got Kawhi Leonard was the last person added.
That's Drew with no D. Well, yeah, okay.
J-R-U-E.
Drew.
So, I think Kyrie's got a point, man. Putting people, the competitive nature of basketball is something unique that at one point USA Basketball and deciding that team was the quintessential version of that competition. Free market competition, baby. Let's get in the gym and let's go at it. Figure out where the chemistry is. Figure out where the balls are. Figure out who's hot. We talk about Klay Thompson and the psychology of shooters. Sometimes people just ain't hot. So, I don't know. I think that Kyrie's got a point. I like to see him compete for the spots versus being given a spot. Earn, not given, baby. Leave it to the free market. I'm with Kyrie on this one. Okay. Even if we know Kyrie was left off with Kyrie, when you say the word Kyrie, it's controversial for all non-basketball reasons. We're going to go home with this. The Ball Hawk Spotlight moment is a quick peek into the insanity of the NFL draft, the Washington the Washington Commanders. In their pre-draft process, they have the second pick, and it has been projected that they're going to take a quarterback. But just a few days ago, which is late, the NFL draft is a week from yesterday, the first round starts. So they are on the clock in less than a week, and yet they brought in not one, not two, not three, but 4 potential candidates, all in the same position of quarterback, to come visit their facilities. They brought in Drake May from North Carolina, Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner from LSU, J.J. McCarthy, national champion from Michigan, and Michael Penix, national runner-up from Washington. The exact polar opposite of the approach that Chicago has taken. They made it clear by getting rid of or parting ways with Justin Fields, bringing one quarterback into their facility, who I know you don't necessarily like the pick, but at least we know Caleb Williams is the pick. Is Washington sane or insane for doing it this way? If indeed the projections of Jaden Daniels being the second pick and being their guy and being the new franchise quarterback, if they're true, do you hurt the relationship before it starts by bringing in the other 3 candidates this close to the draft? Free market competition, baby. What say you?
All sins are forgiven. What you call my name? I mean,
all sins.
Telling me, if I might make sure I'm getting your question right, that if you get drafted by Washington and you weren't the man the whole way, and that they considered other people, you'd be upset.
We talking about? I'm not even 100 air. I'm broke, so it's hard for me to put myself in those shoes. Like Jayden broke, B Brown broke. So if you're talking about me, but let me answer it from the shoes of the candidate that has been projected to be the second pick, the Heisman Trophy winner, the odds-on favorite to be Washington's pick, but also someone that has shown some reservation and hesitation about going to a franchise that has not historically protected their franchise quarterbacks,
Fair.
that has not done well in terms of bringing in young talent, developing that young talent, and then that young talent staying with and thriving in the franchise. I might have some issue with that.
Everything you said, other than the fact that they brought people in, I can agree with why you don't want to go to a shit franchise. But you know what? If you want to be top, you can't both ways. Unless you get lucky and somebody trades up and gets a pick, you know what I mean? Like get some sort of lucky deal where they got a pick. You got to go to a shitty team to be a top 10 draft pick.
Very fair.
You know what I mean? And it needs more than just you. But I'd say it's naive to think that someone picked you and they didn't look at other people. You know, it's like, you know, you get a job, you interview for the job. Most jobs you interview for.
Yeah, but to be the franchise quarterback, it's unique. I liken it more to, the dating game. You're not going to bring your top 4 candidates that you're thinking about dating or marrying and having them sit down with each other and do a Q&A.
A pimp would do something like
pimp?
that.
Oh, I'm missing the point. The Commanders, they some pimps. You ain't gonna bring in all 4 candidates and let them know, like, nah, look, it's a close call, because you want the relationship to last. You're gonna make it clear that whoever's your top choice, you want that person that you're thinking about marrying or dating, you want them to know, nah, you top choice. Everybody else,
you were, and I put thought into it, and you were. I put you next to all of them, and I picked you. What did Drake say? If you had a twin, I'd still pick you.
That's free market competition, baby. That's pimping.
I still picked you. All of it. I looked at everybody. I did my homework, and I still picked you.
Let's hope that Jaden Daniels and that camp see it the same way. I could also very easily see how they would be offended that you have told us that we are likely going to be the pick. The mock drafts have suggested that we are likely going to be the pick. I've opened up my information. I've opened up my health records. I've done everything from my standpoint to be the pick.
Not your choice, but
Not my choice, but some of the information is, right? You got to avail references, and that whole process does require some give and take. But I've done all of that, and you're still saying basically it's a tie? I don't know if that marriage is going to last, dog. This marriage might be doomed.
What if they pick Drake May? He's gonna be like, "See, I'm glad you brought us in. You gave me a chance to show you I'm better than everybody." Whoever gets picked,
That's
don't
side
get
chick energy. Drake May, that's
side
side
chick energy. Yeah. I think he's fine. I think once that check clears, he's not thinking about the fact that he brought y'all in.
Very fair.
Very
fair. I'll give you last word in free market competition. We are really racing towards the midst of spring. The Aries season is coming to an end. Shout out to the Aries. Those who like to indulge in cannabis will be celebrating tomorrow. So let's give them something today that they can remember on the other side of tomorrow's air quote holiday. Let's make sure we give those smokers something to remember as we send them home for the week. Anything you got for final word? Free market competition episode. What say you?
Okay, tomorrow's a very special day. I won't get into my personal business, but tomorrow's a very special day for some of y'all. I know some of you, it's your Super Bowl, it's your Christmas, it's your Kwanzaa. It's all rolled into one. Just go easy, brother. Or don't drive. Don't smoke and drive. All right. Enjoy the weekend, but don't smoke and drive. That's my public service announcement.
420 on a Saturday. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I think I would have put the playoffs. They should have made them Saturday, and everybody just stayed home and did what they did, watched the game instead of a Friday night play-in. But I'm sure the schedule would not allow them to do that. My final word is this: competition. Competition is the lifeline of sport. And in today's episode of Free Market Competition, we talked about sports business entertainment and how competition underlies all of those stories. As a youth coach, I just want to encourage parents. If little Johnny, hypothetical person, is not starting today, and you are little Johnny's mom, dad, and little Johnny is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, anything in youth sports, don't look at that as a sign that you got to relocate little Johnny. In order to get to the places that some of you sports parents say that you want to get to with your son and with your daughter and enjoy that ride, if they do get to that high school of their dreams, if they do get to that college of their dreams, if they mess around and get to a professional sports team, like Diana Taurasi said to Caitlin Clark, we waiting on you. Competition is at the core of everything we do in sport. The earlier, as an athlete, your child becomes comfortable with that, embraces it, and attacks it head first in order to be a competitor, the more equipped they will be to survive in a competitive world. Church. And with that, this has been the show. It is where sports, business, entertainment collide. It is the Ball Hog Sport Talk. It is our heart and soul. We give it to you every Friday. We ask you like we ask you every week, humbly. Please like, please comment, please share. Please tag a friend. Please tag a foe. Tag anyone that you know. And please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and the podcast. I had the Big Flow Show in the building. I am your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mountain South, a.k.a. Breezy, a.k.a. the Councilman, a.k.a. see you next week. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. A few businessmen get together and discuss sports in entertaining fashion. We do it one way and one way only. That's rough, rugged, and raw. It has been the Free Market Competition episode. It has been the Ball Hog Sports Talk. It has been our pleasure, and we'll see you next week. Peace.